Hey, everybody. Recording in progress. Always takes a couple of seconds to get everybody back in who was lined up, waiting for me to come in. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. Here we are. It is April 12th. This is Keene, New Hampshire, but we're sitting here. It looked like Christmas morning, like it could be Christmas morning when it comes to the weather this morning. Big chunky snowflakes, like the weather's kind of on the warm side of freezing, and so nice and chunky snow coming down. But anyway, great to see you all here coming into the classroom, and going to be talking about arthritis today. And Brad Hodgkins just came in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never even mentioned sulforaphane. So maybe we'll give I'm going to have to amend my presentation for that, Brad. I'm not sure how I could have done that. So I apologize for that right off the bat. But anyway, you are, if you're tuning in, YouTube, Rumble, maybe you're coming into the webinar for the first time and you've never been here live. My name is Becky Montrone. We have a practice here, business called Wondrous Roots. I am a holistic healthcare practitioner with a degree in holistic nutrition. I'm also an herbalist, so I work one-on-one with people for health issues of all kinds, from wellness to very serious illness such as cancer and Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, everything in between, heart, diabetes, all the whole gamut of chronic diseases and things that are really tough and sometimes really hard to get on top of, which I really need to do a program on MCAS or mast cell activation syndrome, or just people who are extremely histamine intolerant. That can be a real challenge, and usually often associated with connective tissue disorders, which bring with them another whole complex of problems, not even related to histamine, but that can be one of the worst confounding complexes to find yourself in. So that's another thing for me to think about. Anyway, we are located in Keene, New Hampshire, 103 Roxbury Street, the Miller Forge building, beautiful old mill building with gorgeous hardwood floors, exposed brick and ductwork. We're on the third floor, so we have beautiful views out. The walls are mostly windowed. Really lovely looking out over the hills. We're just in downtown Keene, right off Central Square, one of the main drags off Central Square. You've got West Street. You've got West Street, Main Street, right? So West Street becomes Roxbury Street. Down you go. There's Central Square to the left, then Main Street comes up and forks into West and Court, which are main drags to like Route 9 and Route 12, Route 10, that kind of thing. Anyway, so we're very easy to get to, I guess is what I'm saying. What do I want to say? I also meet with people all over the country, some out of the country this way, or phone if somebody is not able to do a video call. That's pretty unusual when that happens. But in fact, many of my calls this week were long distance. So people get referred to me by somebody else, and then that's the way we do it. All right, so 603-439-2603. Our regular business hours are 9:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can also reach out to me from either of our websites, our online store, which is shopwondrousroots.com, and my main website, which is wondrousroots.org. You can easily get from one to the other, but wondrousroots.org is more about learning the kinds of things I'm talking about today. So I have a huge lot of pages on different topics there. I'll show them to you again, in case somebody's new and wants to be able to go there. So what else did I want to say? I think that's it. Yeah, you can shout out to me contact us from either of those websites. Those come to my email server. Nobody else even knows that you've messaged anybody. They just come to me, and I'm the one who responds to them. So I think that's it. Being an herbalist, I said we have an online shop. So what do I stock? I stock a lot of supplements from other manufacturers, other companies that I used classically, I use over and over and over again with my own clients, or things I want to make available to people that I think are of good quality and are like somebody will come in to me, come in and ask me for a calcium supplement, right? And I never have one because you go anywhere, what you're going to see is a calcium supplement, right? But I don't generally recommend calcium to people as a supplement, as an extra supplement. So I guess what I'm saying is my supplement kind of stock sort of reflects what are the things I think people need. So anyway, you can always search for what you're looking for, shopwondersfoods.com. And then, I'm an herbalist, so we have um, tons of our formulas that are my original formulas out of my head that we make. If they're a formula, I mix them myself. My staff does a great job of doing the percolation of the herbs and all of that kind of thing. It helps me with all of that kind of stuff, but and then my formulas, my husband does most of all of the skincare formulating based on my formulas. He does that mixing according to formula, and then yeah, so that's how we do it. But I actually hand mix my herbal formulas because I don't use a particular 3 ounces of this, 4 ounces of that. I know if I'm making a formula, I want it to be if I'm doing lymphatic system support, I want it to be a little top heavy on the cleavers and the red root, but I don't need to measure it. It's just like when you make your spaghetti sauce at home, right? It's like I like mine with a little bit more basil, or I like mine with a little bit more hot cayenne pepper, or whatever. And I do want to speak about that for a second. My Formula C Plus that I've used with people with cancer for years, which has been a standard formula, I kind of reevaluated and changed this past week, and I'm really kind of excited about that. So, and I'm the kind of person, like I had probably 8 bottles bottled in bottles. And then I had another probably 48 to 60 ounces ready to pour. And I had my assistant on that day just dump everything down the sink because I'm changing the formula. Not that formula isn't good, but if I feel like I've improved something, that's where I want to go. So it's more about, it's all about that. It's really not about, oh, well, you're wasting. Well, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes when you're a true formulator. So again, nothing wrong. That formula has been very helpful and very successful, and it's a good formula, but I'm not about to just use it up. If I want to jump to something new, I'll do it. So I'm going to show it to you. Let me share my screen. Okay, for you to participate, you can type into the Q&A, you can type into the chat, you can raise your hand and talk. And actually, Brett, if you're interested in doing that later on to highlight sulforaphane when it comes to arthritis, do that, because I love hearing you talk, and that's great. And I could even put you on video if you want to do that. So like I could even, let me see. Yeah, if you want to do that, type it into the chat or something like that, and I'll promote you to a panelist, and you can come on and give us your talk on that, because sulforaphane is huge for arthritis, and that was my bad. Okay, that might be good though, because it sort of highlighted it even all the more. Okay, so sometimes things work out for the best. All right, so what else did I want to say? Oh, I was going to show you that. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second to do that. Share. You don't have to talk about things you guys know. You don't have to talk about things that I'm talking about. You could talk about, anything. You could talk about anything at all. And I love to answer questions off the top of my head when it comes to health questions. And I'll clearly don't know everything, and I will clearly tell you if I don't know, but I will do my best to find you an answer if that is the case. So today, this is where we're going today, but I am going to first. We'll go to Formula C Plus. Revitalized and kicked up, I said. And what I did was I have to get a new photo and change the label because the label is new. But what I like too here is I actually kind of list like how these different ingredients work against cancer. Because sometimes herbs can be kind of, what do I want to say, kind of put at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to what you think would be effective. But I remember having very good results, like, oh my goodness, with my very first cancer case was 2007. It was stage 4 inoperable prostate cancer. And I didn't have glutathione at the time. I didn't have ivermectin. I didn't have fenbendazole. I didn't have CK3. I had my herbal formulas, and I had beta glucan and things like turmeric or what, the herbal things. And, my first case was it was flabbergasting, because without doing anything else from end of November to January, he went into remission by 85%. And he's doing very well today. He did 5 weeks of radiation. That's it for mainstream treatment. And in fact, Harry just bought a bunch of skin cream from me a couple of weeks ago. So, and it's 2025. So I'm not bragging. That's not my point, but I'm just saying I was using the herbs. I was using beta glucan. I was using a good multivitamin. I was using, other rounded out things like magnesium and whatnot, but I didn't have my real heavy hitter anti-cancer things that I have now really all in place. But the herbal formulas were there. So what I really love to do is oftentimes when I'm working with cancer, I'm supposed to be talking about arthritis, but I'll get there. When I'm working with cancer, for instance, I will look at what are the things that are, just see there. What are the things that people are using that are actually used in the chemotherapy world? What pathways are they working on for different cancers? And then sort of mimic those. And so that's what I do. And so here I like, because it says, so you take Chinese skullcap, right? So baseolin and wagonin, which are constituents of this Chinese skullcap. Just not sure what's happening there. Just trying to make sure I put so that the view is, anyway, this is, never mind. It's just technical stuff going on in the background. Okay. So back on topic here. So they inhibit VEGF, reduce angiogenesis, support detox. Angiogenesis is a supply of a new formation of blood vessels to supply a tumor, for instance. So was working with a woman this week with a HPV-driven metastatic cancer. It started out as an oral cancer on her tongue. She's 81 years old. She has, it has metastasized to, it's now been a couple of years, but it has metastasized to some areas in the bone. So one of the things that they use for that to do that is angiogenesis pathways are a big thing there. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at there. Curcuma longa, turmeric, suppresses these pathways, which are pathways that cancers use to get their juice, right? Cancers have these pathways they use to survive. And I'm sure Brud could speak eloquently about cancer and sulforaphane, because of the different pathways that sulforaphane gets to that can be used to shut off cancer's ability to survive, I guess is a good way to say it. Or in some cases, absolutely cause, oh gosh, if we see apoptosis here, actually cause cell death. So curcuma longa, green tea. Green tea is huge. It's also a JAK3 inhibitor, which is very important for blood cancers, but it inhibits that blood supply, and it inhibits proliferation. So hard to say that word. Proliferation of cancer cells. Wormwood, which we think of as an antiparasitic, is also anti-angiogenic and has cancer-killing effects. Ashwagandha, we normally think of that for stress, right? But ashwagandha, we're going to talk about it today for arthritis as well. So a lot of these plants have so many other applications, which makes it super exciting, because you might be using something for ashwagandha is also very anti-COVID virus, antiviral. So you might be saying, I'm using ashwagandha to sort of mellow out, like soothe my adrenal glands, kind of drop my stress down. Yeah, it's anti-cancer. It's anti-inflammation for things such as arthritis. It's antiviral. So you're getting a big bang for your buck with herbal medicine. And I would say virtually every single case. Anyway, it targets NF-kappa beta and blah, blah, blah. These are pathways that you need to go after in order to stop the tumor from being able to invite a new, come on, vascular system, come on and link some more of your little roads to me so that I can get, what I need from this person's bloodstream to survive. Rosemary inhibits the MMP pathways. Those I think of, they're involved in many cancers, but the MMPs are involved in, oh gosh, like cancers that can be very genetically driven, such as I'm trying to think of, like I had a woman with colon cancer, and her genetics showed that this was a big area for her. So anyway, the thing is, when you use a bunch of different plants like this, it's like, again, the slap it silly approach. So it's not like you just put a bunch of these plants together and whatever cancer you have going on, there is going to be effect because of the synergy of them. So you don't have to be like, what is the best herb for this particular cancer? You say, wow, if you put in the anti-cancer herbs, they're going to be there. Again, I do have a JAK3 formula specifically for the blood cancers because of those JAK-STAT pathways. But anyway, antigraphis is a STAT3 blocker. And then epithelial growth factor. So epithelial growth factor you see happening in cancers that grow specifically, especially quickly, such as HER2 breast cancer, right? That's the epithelial growth factor. So the cells are multiplying faster than they normally would. Graviola has boswellia is frankincense. So frankincense is hugely anti-cancer. Graviola, it works. I won't go through it. We're talking about arthritis today. But anyway, this kind of tells you about how these things actually, and this is also, we know this. How do we know these things? This is all based on scientific studies that we know these things. So and I'm not putting down oncologists and I'm not putting down mainstream. I'm just saying they work from a particular toolkit. But a lot of times, if you tell your doctor I'm using some herbal things for cancer, they're going to poo-poo it. And they're going to say there's no studies and there's no like FDA, blah, 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 blah. And that's just very misleading because we know these things about these things. This is what they do. This is how they work against cancer. We know this. We know this because these things have been studied. It's just that your doctor didn't study them. So again, there are different ways of looking at things. All right. So anyway, I'm excited about the Formula C+, the new one. I got to change the images there, but the rest of the information is there. It has been made. I have already shipped it out to clients this week. Okay, get rid of that and we'll go to arthritis. What do I have here? It looks like everybody's there. I can see, I'm just making sure I don't miss anybody or anything that's going on that you guys want to say or do or whatever. Okay, move that there. Arthritis. Okay, I'm doing this because one of my regular clients, and he also listens to all the programs, asked me last week after the one on parasites, would I do one on arthritis, saying it just seems to be everywhere. Everybody seems to have arthritis and I seem to have it everywhere, kind of thing. So I was like, well, why not? Let's do it. And arthritis is something that I've wanted to talk about and I deal with it all the time. So why not put it together and kind of talk about it in a coherent fashion. I do have a page I will show you on my website where this will go along with the video later today, and I will build out some other things, but I started it out just to get it going. Arthritis, cartilage, bones, connective tissue, probably problems will go on here too. But this is all as far as I've gotten at the moment. And so now there's a lot more you're going to see, and then that will go on this page as the PDF that we're going to go through right now and the video. So let's dig in without further ado. And again, it's great to see you all here with me. So arthritis, exploring the condition, its types, causes, treatments, and lifestyle. Yeah, what can we do? It's always nice to do that. I like to look at causes, right? Because we're like, oh, you don't want to just like wake up with Alzheimer's, with arthritis and say, gee, how did that get here? You know, what is arthritis anyway? I think of Uncle Wiggily. Do you remember the Uncle Wiggily game? So that I'm really showing my age now. Raise your hand if you ever played Uncle Wiggily, but Uncle Wiggily had rheumatism. And I remember as a kid, like, what is rheumatism? But we just know he walked with a cane and he had, you know, he had pain kind of thing. All right. So we're going to go over the types and the causes of arthritis, supplements for arthritis, autoimmune arthritis, DMSO for arthritis, herbal remedies. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on the herbs, actually. Not that they're the highlight, but I just thought, I just felt drawn to bringing attention to how they work today, just like I kind of did with the cancer. And exercise and the importance of diet, lifestyle factors such as exercise, staying fit, flexible, that kind of thing. Arthritis simply really means joint inflammation. Over 100 types of arthritis exist. That boggles the mind, and I certainly am not familiar with 100 forms of arthritis. Mostly we see osteoarthritis, which is that wear and tear to the cartilage, that is not related to an immune system attack. Then we see those that are, such as rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile arthritis tend to be more a disruption of how your immune system is functioning and your body going after certain tissues of your body, like your cartilage, your connective tissue, like they were an enemy. So what causes arthritis? Degeneration, wear and tear. So a lot of times you see arthritis developing in people who have been particularly athletic, right? Or have worked jobs that are really involve a lot of physical labor because of the wear and tear. So you would think, oh man, that's great. I've been physically active, but sometimes, you know, that extreme activity, and I'm not warning against that, but just to say you need to do things. If you are an athlete, you want to be doing things to protect your connective tissue. You know, you could have wear and tear can also be you broke your knee. And I broke my knee 20 years ago, and now that's the doctor says that's why I'm developing arthritis in my knee. It's like related to that injury that I had. So wear and tear, injuries, yeah, trauma. Autoimmune conditions, we talked about that. Metabolic imbalances, too much uric acid, gout. Gout is technically a form of arthritis. I do have a gout formula too, which I didn't put into this presentation, but that's a really nice formula. And it does have some of the same herbs as these that we're going to be talking about in the other formulas, but it also has things that lower uric acid levels that cause all that pain. So we have osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic, the chief ones that I was just mentioning. So when I'm working with somebody who has arthritis, these are the things that I tend to gravitate to. And the first would be MSM, which is organic sulfur. So you guys know, I'm an Emma, if you know me, you know, if this isn't your first time hearing me talk, if you've worked with me, or if I've advised you out here on the floor, or if you've emailed me a question, or you've heard me talk, which I do a lot of talking on forums like this, then you probably heard about MSM. So MSM is a sulfur donor. It reduces inflammation, but it's really even bigger for that. It is essential for collagen and connective tissue repair, reduces joint pain, stiffness, and inflammation by modulating cytokine activity, also helps detoxify tissues and may improve the effectiveness of other joint support nutrients. And then you guys, I have like a whole MSM page here. And you can definitely see that. If you go to this health benefits of MSM, you will definitely find it's, well, okay, hang on. It's got to have something about arthritis here. Oh, yeah, osteoarthritic knee pain, that kind of thing. Oh, you know what else I didn't put in there was serrapeptase. I'll have to update it. I'll have to update it. It won't be in this video presentation, but it will be on the PDF. Sulforaphane and serrapeptase. Yeah. Okay. That reminded me. But anyway, if you go to the MSM page, you will see a lot of things. MSM relieves pain associated with arthritis, scleroderma, muscle pain, and allergies. So there's a lot more information there that you can grab if you want to. Lou Rong, I love Lou Rong, deer antler velvet, really great. Like if you are that athlete, or that person who does a lot of heavy labor as a preventive, it's wonderful because it is it's deer antler velvet. So I did a whole program on that that you can find on my YouTube channel, and you can also find it on in that page I just did on arthritis and stuff. But Lou Rong is deer antler velvet, actually, and it is rich in collagen, growth factors, chondroitin, glucosamine precursors for glucosamine and chondroitin as well, stimulates cartilage regeneration, reduces joint degeneration, often used for degenerative arthritis, fatigue, and injury recovery, especially in aging populations, but again, also very high for very excellent for athletes, right? Musculoskeletal support, mood enhancer, arthritis, nerve growth factors, athletic performance, immune support. I had a woman that she has rheumatoid arthritis, but this was years ago. And I saw her in consultation for arthritis, and we started her on MSM, Moducare, glutathione, multivitamin, some magnesium. The big players there being MSM, glutathione, Moducare, which I'll talk about. But she did great for years. And then in July of 2023, she had a flare that we could not get on top of by increasing anything that we were using. And I used Lou Rong, and it was less than 2 weeks that flare completely went, because it does seem to have be good for Lou Rong type 2 is mostly collagen. Type 2 production is usually diminished in both osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. So Lou Rong is a good source of collagen type 2. So like somebody says to me, should I take this? Should I take collagen too? I'm like, wow, you really get a lot of factors in Lou Rong that are helpful, including the collagen and the glucosamine and chondroitin, right? So you don't need Lou Rong plus a glucosamine chondroitin supplement plus a collagen supplement, and kind of like get more bang for your buck and less tedium trying to take everything every day. So yeah, it contains chondroitin sulfate as well as glucosamine sulfate and hyaluronic acid. It also has the collagen type 2, and it says Lou Rong type 2 production is usually diminished in both osteo and rheumatoid arthritis. Supplementation has been shown to increase strength as well as decrease inflammation, pain, swelling, and stiffness. It can also be useful in decreasing the autoimmune reaction in these types of degenerative processes, like in the woman I was just mentioning who had that flare. That's how Lou Rong got on top of that most predominantly in her case, was her TH1, TH2, TH17 portions of the immune system were out of balance. Okay. Lou Rong, as a result, can be thought of as being chondroprotective, protecting your connective tissue from damage, and possibly restorative too, which is wonderful. possibly getting some of it back. Like if you're bone on bone, I wouldn't expect that. But if your things are starting to wear down, definitely intercept. You might be getting some return of connective tissue, not just preventing the, you know what I mean, the degeneration in the first place. PEA, palmitoyl ethanolamide, an endocannabinoid-like compound naturally produced by the body. I'm a PEA freak. I'm a glutathione girl. I'm a mitochondriac, and now I am a PEA freak. I love palmitoyl ethanolamide, ultramicronized. We use it for so many things. But when it comes to arthritis, endocannabinoid-like compound naturally produced in the body reduces pain by calming overactive mast cells and microglia. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory and immune modulator, especially helpful in autoimmune arthritis, neuropathic pain, and chronic inflammation. And again, I have, if you go to my my PDF, like what I'm showing you right now, later when it's up on my, you'll get all these links, but you can learn a lot more about palmitoyl ethanolamide PEA. And here's a short sheet, palmitoyl ethanolamide and arthritis. Anti-inflammatory action, pain reduction, this is how it works, nerve protection, mast cell modulation, which causes chronic pain when the mast cells are just driven, and the mast cells are inflammatory. The mast cells are what degrade when you end up sneezing, when you have allergies, kinds of things, but mast cells are involved in a lot of things that we don't typically think of them being involved with, such as chronic pain. PEA for different types of arthritis, osteoarthritis. PEA helps reduce chronic pain and inflammation in degenerating joints, making it a useful adjunct to structural support nutrients like collagen, glucosamine, and chondroitin. By modulating immune overactivity, PEA can help reduce joint swelling and immune inflammation. It pairs well with other anti-inflammatory agents like omega-3s and curcumin. Psoriatic arthritis, PEA's mast cell stabilizing effects can be particularly beneficial for psoriatic arthritis, where immune dysregulation contributes to both skin and joint inflammation. So again, really, really excellent. And there are so many health benefits beyond what we're talking about within today's session. Autoimmune arthritis support. Beyond that, PEA, again, I talk about that. I would also say Lurong, I should have highlighted in there too, because Lurong does both as well. Glutathione. Always have to say glutathione at least once, right? So Moducare and arthritis. So Moducare are plant sterols and sterolins that come from white pine. And then we have Pastor Karen saying, when I have an intense PSA day with pain and stiffness, I take a second dose of 3 PEA capsules, which really gets things under control quickly. And she normally takes 3 capsules per day. So that's a good tip from you, Karen. Yeah, Karen's got psoriatic arthritis. She has fibromyalgia. She's one of those especially blessed persons with multiple things multiple challenges that all contribute to pain in one way or another. So yeah. So good. Thanks for saying that, Karen. That's helpful. So Moducare I've been using for years with people, comes from, it's the fat part of the plant. So we have from white pine, we have pycnogenol, which is something that we use from the bark, and that is for the immune system, for antioxidants. It's really, really high in antioxidants. When it comes to the sterols and sterolins, they work really well to balance the Th1, Th2, Th17 responses of the immune system. So not hyper-suppressing, not hyper-stimulating, but just right? The Goldilocks effect, right? Not too high, not too low, but just right. Oh, I like that. I'll have to use that. The Goldilocks level effect is what you want with your autoimmune conditions. And so Moducare does that very nicely. And again, it's normalized, especially effective in autoimmune like RA, psoriatic arthritis, lupus, and also in other autoimmune conditions such as Sjogren's syndrome or scleroderma, anything where autoimmune thyroiditis, whether it be Hashimoto's or Graves' disease, one way or the other, helps reduce inflammation by shifting cytokine balance toward immune regulation. So when you get the immune system balanced, basically what's happening is you are now snuffing out inflammation. That's like a really short way to say it. When the immune system is out of whack and your immune system is aggressively going after your own tissues, you get that imbalance and the inflammation goes away. And glutathione and arthritis, and I use S-acetylglutathione because it is the most stable bioavailable form of glutathione, available in any form, even IV glutathione infusions. It protects the tissues from oxidative damage while enhancing detoxification pathways. In autoimmune conditions, however, it helps regulate immune activity by reducing inflammatory cytokines like interleukin-6 and TNF-alpha and supporting T-reg cell function. So again, there's a lot of little things with tricky names that are hard to pronounce and different acronyms that make them shorter that are all involved. You're just like, you've got this autoimmune condition, but there are very precise things happening in your body. And the deal is, if we can go after those very precise things that are happening in your body and repair them, then that's how the symptoms go away, but that's also how you recover, which is so much better than just taking, your meloxicam or your Advil or your Tylenol or whatever it is you're taking for the pain itself. We're getting rid of the pain by getting rid of the source of the pain, the cause of the pain, which is really wonderful. And then I'm not going to go, well, I will. I'm not going to read anything from it, but glutathione, you have a very in-depth page. It's just interesting. I've never done a webinar on glutathione, so maybe that's coming up soon. Anyway, I can go back to that and look those things up if you want to learn more. DMSO. So I did a program on DMSO not long ago. DMSO is a form of sulfur. MSM is related to it. But when you're topically using it, it really does penetrate very deeply into the body. When you use it orally, it penetrates. It gets into your body, your full body, very easily. And it is highly anti-inflammatory. The DMSO has many, many wonderful health properties, like all of these things do. But again, reduces pain and inflammation, and it also improves delivery of nutrients when used topically. So like in my NeuroVive and CircuVive formulas, where DMSO is there for its own role in that whole scenario, whether it be circulation or nerve health, neuropathy, DMSO is directly applicable, but it also helps drive everything else much deeper into the tissues so that you really get a nice absorption. So herbal remedies, I have a couple of formulas that I often use with people who have arthritis or inflammatory conditions such as arthritis. And so I thought I would kind of pick them apart today and give you sort of an overview. And it's interesting because Pastor Karen also uses these formulas, as I recall. Quite sure you do, Karen. They're not always my first go-to, and maybe they should be, but usually it's like if somebody walks in, right, like a customer walks in I've never met before and asks me, I have arthritis. The first things I'm going to say are Luron and PEA. So this is somebody who's coming in right off the street. They're not a client I'm working with. I don't have a lot of time to explain anything, and I don't want to say, well, here's 16 things you can take. And then they think I'm just trying to hustle them to sell them like a bazillion things. It would be That's where I go. That's where I go first. If I know nothing else about the person except they have arthritis, whether it's osteo or autoimmune or something like that, I will have them start with those things. But Arthritis Plus formula, if you click there, you can see it. There it is. And we'll kind of pick these herbs apart. So angelica root, I'm going to be talking about how these plants affect arthritic conditions and arthritis in particular. Contains compounds with anti-inflammatory properties, may help reduce joint pain and swelling, and exhibits antioxidant activity. So that means you've got inflammation, free radical damage can cause inflammation. And so when you have something high in antioxidants, it repels that damage. Its actions for this application, traditionally used to improve circulation and ease muscle tension, contains anti-inflammatory compounds like coumarins and flavonoids, helpful in relieving joint stiffness, especially where cold, damp conditions aggravate arthritis. Black cohosh reduces inflammation and pain, modulates pro-inflammatory cytokines, may help protect cartilage from damage. So it's really lovely because these plants do more than one thing. It's like, okay, we're going after inflammation, but we're also protecting the cartilage itself. Inflammation, calming overreactive immune responses. So it's also, my arthritis formulation is more centered towards autoimmune. So that's like I have the anti-inflammatory formula, which we'll get to. This is good for just inflammation and arthritis in general, but this is the formula that really contains the things for the autoimmune influence. Useful in both rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, particularly with hormonal involvement. You'll think of the cohosh as black cohosh women use for menopausal type things. It's not harmful, guys, if you take it either. You're not gonna get man boobs or anything from it. Supports joint health by influencing cytokine activity and reducing pain perception. Cytokines. Think of cytokines as cytokines are like molecules that are just really angry cytokines. And reducing pain perception. Then licorice root for arthritis and inflammatory contains glycerin. Okay, so Pastor Karen is saying again, she uses the two formulas that I'm talking about. She and her husband, they're a staple for her and her husband. So there you go. Karen, you are my poster woman this morning. Okay, this afternoon. Also acts as an immune modulator, which is why it is here again. How does licorice root behave for these purposes? An anti-inflammatory immunomodulator, which inhibits inflammatory enzymes like COX-2. So COX-2 is like what your prescription anti-inflammatories are generally the pathway they're going after. Also supports adrenal function, which may help with chronic pain and fatigue. You're just careful with licorice root, unless it's deglycerinated, which mine is not, but it's only a part of a small formula. But if you have a problem with blood pressure, you would avoid licorice root because it can raise the blood pressure. It will not cause you to have blood pressure if you don't have high blood pressure, and it's not it's not a threat to cardiovascular health. But if you have a problem with high blood pressure, it's one of those things you kind of stay away from. Alfalfa. Yeah, who knew? Alfalfa is just so beautiful and it looks so innocent, but it reduces inflammation. It's rich in antioxidants and it may help alleviate arthritic symptoms. Rich in vitamins, minerals, and chlorophyll, but contains natural anti-inflammatory compounds that can ease joint discomfort, traditionally used as a nutritive tonic to support cartilage health. Ginger, that's no surprise. And the way that works, ginger is it inhibits COX and LOX, which are two inflammatory pathways, major inflammatory pathways, reduces pain and stiffness, particularly in osteoarthritis, and improves circulation and warming cold, stiff joints. Feverfew. Usually use that in, think of feverfew for migraine, but also some application to autoimmune arthritis. Well known for reducing migraines and inflammation, contains parthenolide, which helps modulate prostaglandins, which are inflammatory, and cytokines, which are angry. Especially helpful in autoimmune arthritis like rheumatoid arthritis. Celery seed. And celery seed is what gives, say this to Pastor Karen, is what gives really the arthritis plus that very unique fragrance. It's the celery seed. When I make that formula or when I'm working with celery seed tincture, it's a riot. I mean, it permeates the whole space. It's funny because it's not a bad smell, and it's just celery seed, but it's got a very strong, unique, very distinct fragrance. Traditionally used for gout, for joint swelling, especially with gout. So it's in my gout formula as well. Promotes uric acid extinction, uric acid excretion, and acts as a mild diuretic. Also has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. And then there's a study I found here, the clinical effects of the extract of the seeds of the Indian celery in horses affected by chronic osteoarthritis. Indian celery seed, though. Apium graveolens. Yeah, it's the same thing. Apium graveolens. So when you're wondering if you've heard a common name of something, you're like, is that the same thing as what I was thinking? You look for the Latin. So there, you always look for the Latin name, because sometimes like there are different celeries would have a different, they'd all be apium, but they might be a different species. So maybe not graveolens, but this is about graveolens. Said they were talking about the downsides of some of the anti-inflammatories for arthritis for horses. And it says, an alternative to these treatments, we investigated here the use of a natural product, the extract of Indian celery seeds that in humans is employed as a supplement with anti-inflammatory properties for long-lasting treatments of chronic osteoarthropathies. The improvements obtained and the lack of side effects for prolonged treatment suggest that also in the equine species, the Indian celery seed extract can be successfully administered to ameliorate both well-being and quality of life of subjects suffering from chronic joint diseases. So you can see that study if you want to see it. It's right there in the National Library of Medicine. Oh, there's no studies, Becky. All right, stinging nettle has anti-inflammatory effects. Stinging nettle reduces pro-inflammatory cytokines like TNF-alpha and interleukin-1 beta. Useful in both osteoarthritis and autoimmune arthritis, can be combined with other herbs to enhance anti-inflammatory effects, which we're going to get to in my anti-inflammatory formula. Stinging nettle root we use in some things, and stinging nettle herb or leaf we use in others. The root of the stinging nettle is used to treat mictional difficulties associated with benign prostatic hyperplasia, prostate issues, while the leaves are used to treat arthritis, rheumatism, and allergic rhinitis. That's very elementary. The root is used for many other things, and so is the herb, but anyway, you can see that. Wondrous Root's anti-inflammatory formula, which is right, whoops. Okay, I got to change that link. I didn't change it. Anyway, I will. By the time you're able to access this, it will be fixed. All right, ashwagandha may reduce inflammation. It's an adaptogenic herb that reduces inflammation and stress response, helps regulate immune activity and cortisol levels. Very, very powerful in the adrenal glands where all that cortisol is made. Supports tissue repair and overall resilience. One study found ashwagandha eased arthritis-related symptoms, including pain and joint swelling in people with rheumatoid arthritis. Another study showed that ashwagandha had anti-inflammatory effects on human cartilage cells with osteoarthritis. A third study found that it helped adults with general knee, joint pain and discomfort. Turmeric root, I love this, just helps decrease inflammation. Well, whoa, that sounds so basic, doesn't it? This is some of its action when it comes to arthritis. It's rich in curcumin. Most people are familiar with this one. A well-studied anti-inflammatory compound inhibits COX-2, TNF-alpha, and other inflammatory mediators. Helps with stiffness, pain, and long-term joint protection. Devil's claw root, I love the name of that one, right? Reduces inflammation, but this is how contains harpagosides that reduce inflammation and swelling, often used in chronic inflammatory joint conditions. And this one is probably more recognized by mainstream medicine than many. Devil's claw itself, devil's claw root there's been quite a bit of study on devil's claw for these purposes. And then yucca root. Anti-inflammatory effects. Look at this. These are just all God's creation. Look at all these plants that God thought up and thought to make. They all come out of the ground. It's just really, look at them. Who knew, right? Medicines from the earth. Okay, devil's claw, I think we were on yucca. Contains steroidal saponins that reduce joint inflammation, traditionally used by Native American tribes for arthritic conditions, and supports detox and gut health, which can indirectly affect joint pain. Skullcap, and I like Chinese skullcap too, but I'm using Lateriflora in this, which has its own anti-inflammatory effects. Gentle nervine with calming anti-inflammatory effects, makes you feel happy too, a little bit relaxed and happy. Helpful when joint pain is accompanied by muscle tension or nervous system irritability. Skullcap is a natural muscle relaxant, and then may support sleep in individuals with pain-related insomnia. Frankincense, really wonderful anti-inflammatory. Inhibits 5-LOX and reduces leukotriene-mediated inflammation such as interleukin-6. Supports joint flexibility and reduces cartilage breakdown. Highly effective in both osteo and rheumatoid arthritis. Guggle is another resin like frankincense. So we use the sap, right? So maple syrup would be like a resin. So you've got frankincense, the part we use is the sap, the resin. Guggle, the part we use is the sap. Helps reduce inflammation and pain, has anti-inflammatory properties, may be beneficial in rheumatoid arthritis. So again, some overlap there. Ayurvedic, meaning this is native to Indian herbal medicine. Ayurveda modulates the immune response and lowers C-reactive protein levels, which we see C-reactive protein inflammation in many conditions. So that's kind of, it's used as a measurement, like along with the ESR, the erythrocyte sedimentation rate on labs for people with autoimmune conditions to see what's going on. And then CRP is especially monitored for cardiovascular inflammation disease. Exercise and arthritis. Regular exercise encourages joint lubrication. I would say staying hydrated. That doesn't mean drinking a gallon of water a day. It means staying hydrated, which is another subject that can be a little bit, what do I want to say? Misunderstood about how we best hydrate. But anyway, staying hydrated. Exercise also strengthens the supporting muscles, so there's not so much wear and tear. You're not putting everything on your joints, right? So like keeping your muscles strong to hold all your joints and everything where it's supposed to be. And then low impact activities preferred, such as yoga, water exercise, swimming is fantastic. So things that you're doing, you're really strengthening your muscles and everything, but you're not putting like pound on your joints. And then diet. Again, the same things, right? Reduce processed foods and sugar. There's like so much that can be said about that because sugar itself is highly inflammatory. Processed foods are extremely, almost all of the processed foods have inflammatory vegetable and seed oils, which are very pro-inflammatory. So whether you're thinking you're eating something that's inflammatory or not, you often are. But if you just say, I'm going to pretty much get my food from the perimeter of the grocery store, and stay away from packages, bottles of pre-made things, and eat as clean as possible, and just ditch processed sugar, ditch the sweets, an occasional, whatever. Who cares, right? Somebody said to me, well, it was my son's birthday and he really likes this cake. I don't care about, like, I'm not like that. I'm not that way myself. I mean, I have sweets, but you don't load up on them, and you don't, and yeah, you eat everything, and keep that down. Include anti-inflammatory foods that are themselves anti-inflammatory. And that's another great topic, isn't it? Just like anti-inflammatory eating. Maybe that'll be next. I don't know. It'll be coming up sometime soon, because I think that would really be fun to go into all of that and coming. Well, I mean, people have done that, right? Like Myers, what is her name? She's a doctor, Dr. something Myers. Like Amy Myers, right? The anti-inflammatory diet. There's a lot of them. I think probably Gundry has done that too, and maybe even Bill Davis may have done something similar. But there's a lot of good resources out there. But it'd be kind of fun to explore, and just kind of, I like to muse on these things sometimes and just kind of put them right in my focus, and just kind of see like what could be. I think that would be fun. Bone broth and colorful veggies for joint support. Oh, and I forgot to put in here glycine. I got to write these things down. So fourth thing, serrapeptase, and glycine. All right, this is getting amended when I get home, and will be expanded on the PDF. And then when you see this, anybody who's seeing this, you'll know to go to my PDF that's next to the video on my page, and then you'll be able to get all the other add-ons. Well, maybe I'll just add them on. No, I'll figure it out. I might just add them to the page. One way or the other, they'll be provided. Okay. I love modern technology. It makes everything so smooth. So anyway, address structure, inflammation, immune regulation. These are the things that are the culprits behind developing arthritis. Support your joints and with targeted nutrients and herbs. Lifestyle and diet are foundational to success. Again, prevention, like an ounce of prevention, worth a. Debbie is asking why serrapeptase versus nattokinase. I think of serrapeptase more for arthritis than I do nattokinase, because I'm just more familiar with it, but I think of nattokinase more for inflammation in the cardiovasculature and stuff, and I do serrapeptase as well. But serrapeptase has actually been, share my screen for a second. Serrapeptase has actually been studied for its effects on both osteo and rheumatoid arthritis. So when we get here to serrapeptase for arthritis, in 1947, Dr. Arnold Renshaw from Manchester took the initiative, they're not talking about Manchester, New Hampshire either, but took the initiative of investigating the efficacy of serrapeptase on improving the symptoms of inflammation that are associated with arthritis. In the Annals of Rheumatic Diseases, he reported that 700 patients were recruited to take serrapeptase for inflammation, and the results were marvelous. He also added that 283 patients out of 556 with different types of arthritis showed great recovery after taking serrapeptase, and 21 patients showed slight recovery. Similarly, 264 patients out of 292 with rheumatoid arthritis showed great recovery. Most of the patients started showing recovery after 2 months of taking serrapeptase. According to numerous studies, serrapeptase also works faster on osteoarthritic pain than rheumatic pain, and then the rheumatic pain was really quite remarkable. Furthermore, many studies have revealed that the only way to naturally control arthritis is by supplementing the diet with systemic enzymes and/or maintaining a strict diet. So that's where I kind of come from with that. Okay, where was I? Well, I can just actually, I think was almost at the end. Oh, there we go. So there we are. Don't just go with the flow, go with the no. So I'm just going to stop my share and kind of wrap things up. I'm not sure I want to view speaker. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why Dale's name is up there. Hopefully that doesn't come through on the video. I don't think it will. Let me just see if I can. Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong with that. But anyway, it's just another little technical snafu. So I hope this has helped you kind of understand arthritis, where it comes from, what's going on, what you can do. There's a lot you can do. So if you are suffering from arthritis, take up some of these tools and use them, because you'll be surprised. And people remark that they feel better fast. A lot of times people are surprised when we, thanks, Deb, thank you. It's a lot of times people are just very surprised that they respond that quickly, because most people with arthritis, by the time they're looking for help, they've suffered with it for a while. It's not like, oh, I'm just feeling this. And yet they still get a really good result. So think about some of those tools and how you can use them. I did not highlight supplements like back to my website or anything for a lot of the things like glutathione or oh gosh, PEA or Luron or anything, but they're easily found. If you just go to my shopwonderstruths.com and just type in the search bar, just start typing, you'll find what you're looking for if you want to look at them. Okay, so I guess that's it. It looks like the snow has stopped and everything is quickly melting. It was really fun though. It looked like it could be Christmas morning this morning when we woke up. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a great week, and we'll be back together next week for something equally as exciting and interesting, I promise.